All right, so we got our 2001 2500 good old LB7 truck, and we are going to do a complete towing. I don't know if makeover is the right word, but we are going to do a towing upgrade, or refreshment, or overhaul. We're going to do a towing overhaul. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do a towing overhaul. And what we are going to do is we are going to eliminate the factory receiver, get some fresh wiring. We are going to install this giant Curt extra duty bumper pull hitch. We are going to get new wiring for the bumper pull area. We are going to wire up a 7-way for the bed, and then that is our Curt gooseneck. So it is going to be a much better truck for work when we're done with today. But we're gonna try to get the bumper pull on here first, which in theory that is just 6 bolts and you know, a little bit of bench pressing on your back. As long as once you get two in there, the other 6 should go in fine. So we're gonna try to get these on and then do the wiring second. All right, so we got one, 2, 3, all 21 millimeters. All right, so just grab your impact, and I'd zip out 4 of them real quick, and then the 2 kind of towards the front, make them loose and kind of try to pull them out together, because then eventually this thing's gonna drop all together, right? So just be a little bit careful. It definitely is not going to be as heavy as the other one. Oh, that's right, I forgot. The original one's going to have a couple bumper mounts as well. All right, we got that out. Just those 6 bolts, pretty or 8 bolts, pretty quick. And look how compared to the new Curt. So the new Curt does not have the bolts here. All right. So it is going to be held on by just the 6 instead of 8. So I guess in that regard, it is not as sturdy. With that said, the steel thickness and the welding looks a lot better. Maybe not, the welding's not too terrible. There's a couple spots in here, maybe it's kind of weak. But clearly the part right over here that holds your 7-way rips off a lot, and there's nothing like that on here. You just got a slightly thicker piece than going back that way, and then, you know, a giant bar coming across the front. So it gives you 4 supplied bolts, and then you reuse the front ones right here and right here that came out. So hopefully your truck's not too rusty and your threads are reusable. If not, you might have to drill and tap for a bigger bolt, or try to see if you can throw a nut on the other side with a different bolt size. But mine are definitely reusable. So we're going to somewhat difficultly, painfully get this back up there by myself. It is definitely heavier. The original one's heavy enough, but the extra one is Curt XD extra duty is definitely a couple pounds heavier than the other one. So I suppose I'm probably going to try to get the back ones in first and work my way forward. Get them all, try to get the back 4 in just loosely, and then throw that front one up there so it's firm and tight in the frame, and then tighten down the back 4. That's probably what I'm going to try to do. It's looking pretty good. Probably going to have to pick one of these sides to mount the wiring right into the bumper, but we got plenty of space just to drill 2 holes. Got plenty of space with this one up and over, so don't worry about your wiring. You can install everything first. Look at that, it sits perfectly flush with the bumper. It's a great fit. I will say this, if you see right there, if you have a 5-inch exhaust, it's not going to fit nicely. You need a 4-inch exhaust, or even a 4-inch, you might have to. 4-inch won't be as bad. You'll get an extra 1/2 inch, right? So but because of the size of this hitch, it's got that bend on the bottom, you know, right here, that bends out, and it bends right into that. And so I had someone stand on the tip and basically push this down as far as possible, and that was the only way I was able to get it in there. And now it still moves a little bit, but it's touching my permanently touching my shock. So either a hole in the shock's gonna come or a hole in the pipe is gonna come. So I really need someone to probably just undo this weld, push this back a little bit and a little bit off the thing, and then re-weld the hook into there. That's probably what I need to do. Better thing would be to trade someone for a 4-inch exhaust. So that'd probably be better long term. But it's up there. So we got all our bolts, the 2 originals, nut up front, and this thing, I got my wiring right here. So I'm gonna run this right down in here. But yeah, so now I just gotta tighten them down. I'll look at the spec, see if it's close enough to an impact, and I'll just hammer them down. All right, we got the Curt, let's see, 15302, fully bolted. I actually think from a cosmetic perspective, I actually think it looks better than the other one, just because it doesn't quite hang so low. But yeah, she's definitely a strong hitch. And next up on the list, now that that's in there, you know, so the only downside is it has a hole to let water out, I assume. Downside is it's also facing the rear wheel. Could actually let some moisture and water in there. So just like the original ones are known for getting water in there and rusting out from the inside out, they have, you know, the whole circle on the original ones. This one, they still have a hole, but it's just, I guess, not quite as big. Let's see if the other side has one. Oh well, the other side does have one, but it's behind the sticker, so we'll leave the sticker on for right now. But yeah, as you can see, it's hitting my 5-inch exhaust. Definitely need a 4-inch, or I'll have to get that rerouted to make sure it all plays nice. But yeah, let's see. The next up thing we're gonna try to do is get my 7-way mounted here. So I've got this Hopkins unit. Let me see what it is, what number. This is Hopkins 40975. Real simple one. It comes in a small box, and this is all it comes with here. 2 self-tapping screws and 1 bracket. All this does is, once you have it, you know, where you want it. So let's say I put it here, which you don't want it this far away from the hitch. You want it relatively close. The further out the way you go, the more likely there's chances, if you turn or are backing a trailer and it kind of jackknifes, more likely that trailer is going to push that hitch in and you're going to have some problems. The only reason I know that is because I did that on my Suburban. I have to redo it on that car. So I will be mounting this one relatively close wherever I have, you know, good metal. But really, I'm gonna drill 2 pilot holes, just because it's hard to drill in the straight steel with one of these. You usually need some kind of hole first, and so I'm gonna drill 2 small pilot holes with my drill and this, and then I'll push this up, get this in. I guess I gotta pick what side. It just clips in right here with these clips, so it's super easy. On the back, see that? If I just pushed it forward, it would just clip right in. So that I'm gonna put that on and let it sit, and then we'll get the other wiring in as well. All right, we'll get the gooseneck. I already got my Sawzall, the 2-inch. I have, let's see, it's a 2 1/8. Let's see if that's what it says I even need. Hopefully that's the same size for this one as the last one I did. All right, well, I guess we'll find out in the directions when I open that. But let's get 2 holes and get this mounted. All right, just note to self when you're doing this, I'm probably gonna have to slide this one forward or over a little bit more, because you gotta give yourself enough clearance in the back there to get that plug in. I haven't done it yet, but it sure looks like we're gonna need some more space. So I'm probably gonna do is move that bolt over to this hole and then drill another hole right here. And I think that should be enough to clear it, because it's really close, but it looks like it'll be just a hair short. But remember, the main plug right here, when you're wiring up a gooseneck in bed receiver, this goes straight to the gooseneck wiring. So, and then the gooseneck wiring has 2 plugs, one into this and one into this. So let's get the gooseneck wiring set up, and then we'll get that resorted out. All right, check it out. I actually ended up angling it a hair towards the front. 1, to give me some more clearance, but 2, I figured if I'm ever taking a sharp, the trailer's, to the right, the 7-way's on this side, and I haven't pushed it on all the way. 7-way's right there. As this comes out, it does give a little bit more than straight open, but it'd be really nice if the 7-way was on this side. But that's how we're gonna do that one right there. So it looks a little bit off to the left, but I figured it serves a more functional purpose than cosmetic purpose. All right, so this is our gooseneck wiring. Got 10 feet. Here's our Hopkins connector for the inside. So this was Hopkins 4090-975, and this one's Hopkins 41-157. All right, so if I remember how to do this last time, it's really, I don't think I have enough drill. I think I'm going to go charge this. But really, once you get your drill or your hole drilled, I'm going to stick it right here in the recessed part again. I feel like that gives you that much extra of clearance from hitting stuff. Obviously I think potentially right here might be the safest spot, just because you got a wheel well then as well. So maybe we'll put it by the wheel well, but either way, it'd be one of those 2 spots. Last time I did this, I did it here. And let's see, for size comparison, you're looking at that might be better. We might do it at this time over here, but really it just depends on if I can get a drill hole drilled today. So if you pull this apart, you'll see one end. I bought this with a 90 just because it's kind of tight back up in there behind the bed, and that's going to go onto this guy. Whoops. That's going to go onto this guy behind the bed. Okay, and then this is going to run down to right where we were. All right, one into this one's going to go into the factory harness, and this one is going to go into the new Hopkins part we just put on. So I'm going to put this back in the box because I really don't think I'll have enough juice at the moment to do this. Let's see if I'm going to give it a shot. Maybe we can't. Okay, it says 2 1/8 inch hole saw. All right, and it don't really say where to. All right, so the only way you can drill this hole and actually get wiring to it. See, we're done. Clean up the edges. If you got some spray paint, give her a spray real quick. This piece kind of sits right back up in here, and you have to remove this to put your wiring in. So it's just two 10 millimeters, a little tab, you know, two 10s and a little tab. Just because those two together are just big enough where I can't reach. So let's see if I can't feed this up. I'm not gonna be able to film this. So once that panel's off, you've got some access lighting right there. Just reach up and weed up the big one through. You're gonna get that top section done before you figure out where you're gonna wire this. All right, so don't worry about putting this back on right away. All right, that's what she looks like. Okay, so now I've got tons of wire hanging down below. We're actually gonna get it hooked up to the hitch first, and then we're going to use some of the provided zip ties and rubber band to make sure it's all the extra 10 feet of loom stays put. Remember, since once you got that off, before you put it together, use some of that provided terminal grease. Since that thing, in theory, is never going to come off again. Probably even, well, I guess it depends. The only reason this might be unbolted again in the future is if the truck bed's getting lifted off. However, even if that does happen, it is possible to just unbolt these bottom two and lift everything up. So there's a good chance this will never come up again as long as you own the truck. That's why I only had some silver paint. I had some engine primer and caliper paint. That's what I had on hand. That's what I used. So if I don't like the silver, what I can do is the next time I have some black paint by me, you know, throw some black around on there. Or what I'm probably just gonna do is give it a couple days for it to dry, and then take a light toothbrush / a little bit rougher wire brush and just rub off the top layer of paint. Since this is just rubber, I can take off the top layer and turn it black again. It's not gonna hurt anything. But I like that position a little bit better than what I did here, because now it's a little bit harder for things to slide into it, because as you can see, it does stick out a fair bit, so it would get in the way. And technically, being right there is just that much, a little bit closer to where the center hole is gonna be. So you will need, those are what's it called? Tap screws, self-tapping screws. So that's what I'm saying, like, you wanna make sure everything's hooked up, everything's straight and square. Do one, I did one in the corner, and I did this one, and then those two are real easy. So let's go back down to the bottom. We'll get everything hooked up, and then throw as much as we can, much extra loom as we can behind this fender, just so it's out of the way and not dragging. I got everything hooked up. It fits good. The angle on this, I don't want to say it was necessary, but it certainly helps. Definitely will help in removal if I ever need to get it off. So I've got one zip tie right here. I threw some extra grease on the back side of this plug just to make sure no water from the back tire gets in there. Worst case scenario, it's easily removable. If I can just cut this, and then I've got all this slack to undo them and you know, get them sorted right about here or something. Then I've got them tied into this. I got them in this little bracket on the frame in one of these holes that I put one of those connectors in, and then I zip tied this one to that one. Maybe I'll put a second one on there just for safekeeping. And then I have it running. It's actually at the front of the frame behind the bumper, but I have it through the side piece bumper. So I guess if I ever have to remove the bumper, that was not the smartest move, because now my plugs need to come off and back through and through that hole. Way I see it, it's just 2 clips and a couple of zip ties. Shouldn't be too difficult. Plus, I don't plan to have the bumper off anytime soon. And by having it through a piece of steel like that, it will definitely not fall or anything else. Now, as you can see, we've got a fair bit of loom, and I am planning to hide all of this up here behind this panel and have just the loom that I need come down right through that little angle right there. So let's see. I'm gonna need both hands to do this, so I'm gonna let you go and come back with it completed. Okay, so wiring is completed, zip tied behind there through the bumper portion, and then up there. Once you get those 2 10mm in, remember, you just push this up with one hand like this, get that in position, and this holds. Now what I did, which you didn't see on camera, is I used that rubber band and a couple zip ties and kind of made that ball of loom. I tried to make it a big like a big knot, big you know, 6-inch wide circle of wires, because as you can see, it's still there. Here's one of the zip ties actually, but nothing holds this back, right? So this and as you can see, it does move, but if you have it in a giant ball, it's not gonna have enough weight to force, you know, to break the screws or break the tab, or you probably need 2 out of the 3 broken to actually move this. So yes, it's going to go up and down, but if it was just an individual wire, it's very possible one could sneak out after I hit a big bump on a road, and then they'd all just follow. But this, see? Now I'm just going to push that back up. See? Getting between this piece and having this out far enough takes some weight or some force, and I think with it zip tied in the ball up there, I think that's going to be pretty difficult for it to wiggle out on its own. It never did on my other truck when I did it this way, and I guess the solution is, if it does and I catch it in time before it tears itself up on the road, I guess is to use some more rubber bands or some more zip ties and get it even tighter, because there's no way for this to connect to this side at all. And if you ever need to take this apart, I don't think you want it to. You want it to be removable. But yeah, so that's how I'm gonna leave it. I'll pull this down just a little bit, just to give me some slack, and then push that up. All right, so that's how we're gonna leave it for my truck. If you did it differently on your truck, definitely post a link to your video or make a comment on how you did it. But that is the finished product for me. Next up, we're going to be moving to the gooseneck install. Now that the bumper pull, hitch, and all wiring is completed. So let's take a quick look at how she looks. Right now, we got a Curt hitch with 7-pin, 4-pin in the back. Remember, factory, this was only 7-pin. This is way more tongue rate than the original one was rated for. And we're good to go with 5th wheel or gooseneck in the bed whenever something is installed. But as you can see, stay tuned for a little bit more and we'll get to this one. All right, this is the Curt 6619 gooseneck. Let's see, can you see that? 6619. This is the double lock easier All right, so if you go on the eTrailer website, they have one version, and then they have this one, and this is, I guess, a little bit closer to the BMW one that's super popular. This is, except for the only real difference this one has is it's got the Curt name, and it's a double pin. All right, so I could definitely see how the double pin would be safer. Should one pin break, you still got the other one. And with that said, you see all these other guys with BMW and the old other Curt and a couple other ones that all use one pin and they never break. So it's probably a little bit overkill, but you know, I guess it is safer if you we're planning to really overload your truck. So this, if you order this kit from the eTrailer website, it's gonna come with this plus the bracket for your truck. All right, so 60648 is for an 01, a GMT 800 2500 HD. Probably gonna be the same for all 2500, 3500s of the early 01 to 07 Duramax trucks. All right, so let's get this unboxed and we'll look at it. All right, so when you open it, it's gonna look like this. Comes with your ball, some directions, the ring, the template, the center locator for your grill, and then the Curt cover, rubber cover on top. And then these are your springs and your lock. Comes with the rod. All right, and then the other one is, as we thought, the brackets. Now, that's a little concerning, where a couple of ones that were potentially falling out. There's the bag, and what we're going to do is we're going to set up the main headpiece here, and then we'll mount the brackets, and then mount this, and I guess I'll have to drill for the hole another day when I don't think I'm going to make it by the time the sun comes out, because my charger's at another location right now, so it's probably not going to work out today. But let's see if we can, how much of this I can't get set up, at least. These things are heavy. These things are quality steel for sure. This whole kit is very heavy. It rained this morning, so that's why everything's a little bit wet. Now, with that said, I don't think other than these little holes, which will be covered with the screw, nothing has been hurt from getting wet. Although usually this is under the truck, doesn't get wet a whole lot. Now, really the two pieces of paper that you need that help you are the two with the pictures. It looks like this comes second, and the one that we got to get focused on first is this one right here. Okay, so let's do a mock trial of how this is going to go. See, here's front to rear. So we got the main bar, the big bar right here, going towards the rear of the truck. We got the L-shaped bar going towards the front of the truck, and then it looks like this thing goes up right in between and gets held on with the weight of the gooseneck right from right here. But it actually gets held to the frame only with this U bracket and with this bolt right here. All right, so really, how is it secured to the frame? These side brackets, not by a ton of strength. They're kind of, I think everything working together is what makes it so strong to be able to hold the weight that they're rated for. But you're gonna need a 4-inch drill. Oh, I didn't get a 5/8. I gotta go get a 5/8 hole saw. All right, so we won't finish this. So you're gonna need a 4-inch hole saw. You're gonna 5/8 and a couple of these other things. The only things that everybody might not have immediately is those 2 hole saws. But I've already got one. I need to get the little hole saw. Did not. Maybe I should just buy a kit. Here's my 4-inch hole saw. This was the Ace Hardware one. A bi-metal hole saw. I think it was like $20 or so. and you will need a 2 1/8 hole saw if you're going to be doing your in-bed wiring at the same time. But this kit is pretty advanced. This is all for the head, the main head plate or whatever that's called. So I'm going to leave this towards the very end. All right. Comes with a nice sticker on the side. You stick on the side of the hitch so you know what it's rating for and how to use the handle. And plus there's no other ratings or anything else, stickers anywhere on it. So if you don't put this on it, nobody knows what it is, which is fine. So let's get this mounted up. Here's all the hardware that the kit came with for the mounted plate and the side posts. Basically, you just gotta bolt everything together and make sure. If you notice these holes, there's a little bit lower towards this side. All of them, they're all just a little bit lower towards one side. So kind of check the pictures. It looks like that you face the bolts near the bottom. All right, so it appears like after some review of the directions, these bolts with the squares on them, those are going to be the side that go into the bars, and that's how you're going to get it seated. You're gonna, because each one has a square in it. So basically, you're going to put these in on this side to get it set up. You're going to get all 4 of them and set up on that side, and then on the other side, it's just going to be the kind that go through here, and then they just thread in. All right, so you got to use the threading kind on this side because you can't turn the bar obviously once it's in there. And with this kind, if you decided to try to do it like this, now it's not going to spin, and you either got to spin the whole main piece or the bar, and that's not going to work once it's under your truck. So the kind with the, I think they're called carriage bolts, at least that sounds familiar in my head. These are going to be the kind that you use to get everything mounted on this facing forward on the right angle bar. All right, these are going to be the kind that go through the frame, help with the connections. Guys, when you're doing this, count your bolts right away. It appears like I am missing 1 bolt. Shoot. Oh, there it is. Woo. Got it. Yep, you got to have 6 of these. 4 for the main piece. 4 of these for the main piece. 2 through the frame. 2 from here to here. And then these 2 on the other side from here to here. All right. So really, to make this all function, you need 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 bolts. Plus it's already, on all washers and stuff. But 14 bolts plus 2 of those. Okay. So they give you both for depending on what kind of truck you come with. It looks like this kit is kind of a generic kit where it's whatever fits in your truck, make it fit. But one of these is for the longer one, and 1 set is for the shorter one. And I think because I have a GMT 800 truck, I'm pretty sure I've got the taller frame where my truck's gonna require that one. But let's try to get this up under there, and let's see if we can get it done. Okay, as you can see, we got both in there. These larger tires, let's see, I'm running, made it a little bit harder because I couldn't get them quite straight. So what I ended up doing is going from the passenger side, and really a slit was probably needed to be cut, to get it. What I just did, I stuck it in there, and then I just grabbed the bar and just lifted up, and that, I don't know, pushed it up that much, and that's what I needed to get it in there. But now they're both through. So the next step is to take a wrench. First of all, since I had trim, I need to see that right there, I need to make sure I bend that down so it's not in the way of this bar when I flip it up. All right, so I'm gonna do that with just one of these, regular wrench, grab it, pull it down. So I already cut that out. This is what was needed to be cut out of that little section. I didn't take out the entire thing, I just took out that little section. And then what I'll have to do is, I hope I can do it with just one wrench, but those need flipped up. So you need to go under there and basically grab the one side and pull it so they face the direction they need to face. So this one, I'm gonna have to flip this way, flip it up this way. And this one, actually this one should be pretty easy because I don't think this one's gonna give me too much trouble, but same thing, this one just needs to be pulled flat. So this part is facing vertical where the holes are. Okay, so I got the bars in place. See how make sure the bolts, the holes are towards the bottom, right? They're not quite in the exact middle of the bar, they're slightly towards the bottom, and those are gonna be towards the rear. The main bar is towards the rear, and the angle iron is towards the front. And the nice thing with the angle iron is that as long as you put it in the right direction, it don't need any convincing either way. It folds up flat. Once you get enough force on it, no problem. So it folds up flat once you get enough force on it, no problem. So that's the easy part. So these are just holes, remember, in here. And this side, all these holes, the 4 holes for here are threaded, okay? So like that's a threaded hole right here, even all the way to the end of that bar is threaded. So to help get this really heavy piece up here and end, remember when you put this up, you gotta have this in so that you can drill your hole up through the bottom with that. But this thing is to the driver's side, this little dot, that's how you know. And that basically just signifies that the hole for your pin. The directions say it's towards the driver's side, so that's what we're gonna do too. But basically you need to get a couple of these, you gotta get this mounted under the truck, and it's very heavy. And so really what they do is take 2 of the bolts with the square, part that fits right in here, and you're gonna stick it through from the underside out like this, and you're gonna get 2 of them in there, and you're gonna throw these 2. This kit only comes with 2 of these, and their sole purpose is this right here. It's basically a bolts assistance to get them through that thing, because honestly this would be easier with probably 4 hands. One to hold this thing up in place, and one to hold the crossbar and throw the threads on. But this right here will make it easier. Whoops. Anyway, get those on so that they hold the bolts in there, and then throw it up through there. And once you get the 2 nuts on there, it's holding the bulk of the weight, and after that it's just throw all the rest of the 4 pieces, there's 4 on each side, through. Okay, so I got these in there, and now make sure to grab this. I'm gonna put that on the top side. What I gotta do is, this thing's kind of heavy, so hopefully everything goes well and I don't drop it or damage something. But so I gotta bring this, I gotta bring it like this under the truck. I gotta install that, pushing that into the back bar, the angle iron first, throw the 2 nuts in, and then I have something to at least hold the weight, and I can thread in the other 8. All right, once you thread in the other 8, I would keep them loose. I would not get them super tight, and then we got to put in the bars. And once the bars are in, the side brackets are in, then we can start snugging everything down, because you don't want to drill your hole until everything's torqued and as tight as it's going to get. All right, so this is what we're looking at right now. All right, I got my two, just the two helper ones. And now I'm gonna put the other 4 in on this side. And then hopefully I've got this bar and this bar roughly the same distance, because these are thread-in. So this has to line up perfectly. I'm gonna finish off this side so I can kind of move these two as a unit. And then I'll start working on this bar. I assume it's supposed to be all the way up against this bed rail or bed something, whatever this is called, the rest support. And that's how I've got it anyway. I've got the liner pushed down as far as I can. And this is just a hair forward of the axle. I think that's where most goosenecks are supposed to be. So I've got, let's see, the 2 more for the front half, and then these are all just threaded to the main bar. So I'll slide everything under. This was very difficult to get in. I'm not gonna lie, this was not easy. 100% recommend, just for getting those 2 in, if you've got a second pair of hands, to hold this front bar and move it side to side so that that can be straight, and then have the other person also thread those 2 on. You know, it would save you a whole lot of effort. This whole kit would be very easy to put on and install if the bed was not on. If your bed's already off, definitely do this before the bed goes on. But I would highly recommend a second set of hands for that one little part right there. Not 100% necessary, as I just did it, but I also did experience a fair bit of struggle to get it in position, just due to the weight. All right, so it's easiest to get this together if you take your tire off, right? Just so you have space. I'm actually having some troubles right now. It's like this wasn't cut, or when I tried putting this in, it only went in about halfway, even with an impact. And I'm like, well, shoot, I don't know if I welded something on the inside, or if that, I believe the directions say to chase the threading in that main bar. So I just purchased this to do that now, and then I purchased a new bolt. So it certainly would be a lot easier to do this if this stuff was still off the truck. So consider grabbing one of these and chasing the threads one time just to clean up the black, because essentially what they did is this black coating is inside your threads on this bar, so it probably changes things. The other side went together just fine, it pushed through just fine, but for whatever reason this one did not. So I just got this for leverage to move it up and down to get the right spot. And then once this is in most of the way, and maybe not all the way, maybe, you know, just a small little gap left, I'll put this one back in, and I'll put this one right here back in, so that can be finished. But this guy's been giving me trouble, so I took it back apart and trying to get this done. Okay, so I just finished up this side. Everything's torqued. Remember, these 2 are, according to the torque specs, pretty low torque, actually, about 40 foot-pounds. So I just took a 3/4 wrench and you know, made them as snug as I could by hand. And no, that one needs a head more turns. Okay. All right, so this one was supposed to be like 300 foot-pounds. I just zapped it pretty hard with the old 1/2-inch impact. This one was supposed to be about 200 foot-pounds. Same thing, I just zapped it pretty good. Same thing with this one, about 200 foot-pounds. This was the one that was giving me problems. What I ended up doing is I had it in and out a couple times after I trashed the first bolt, and then I used this in and out a couple times, and eventually just said, hey, let's make sure this is good and tight. And I put an extra washer in there, and now it's snug. So this is like a rock. This ain't going nowhere. It's crazy how really what's holding your whole gooseneck from sliding forward and crushing your truck is this bolt that's in the frame right here, because this is just holding the side to side movement and these are just supporting the weight of the bars. But really the only forward to back is this guy right here. So they want that one real torqued, make sure it is. And I just did that. This side's good. I'm ready to put the tire back on. And I'll go to the other side and I'll zap everything in. And then I'll do the drilling for the holes tomorrow. Okay, so I just threw the sticker on. So everything, the bracket itself is bolted, secured. We got our professional looking sticker. Everything's as tight as it's gonna be. And just by hand feel, granted that's not really what a gooseneck moving weight is gonna matter, but by hand feel this thing is extremely solid already, now that it's secure. But now that the bracket's done, we can move on to the actual finishing up of this portion, as we are gonna get, we have to drill our holes and then just get these couple parts installed. We got this one too, the top cover, and a bag of bolts and a spring. So once we drill these holes, we'll pretty much be done. I went out and bought a 4-inch hole saw from Ace Hardware, and then I got the smaller pack from what's it called, from Milwaukee. I had to go out and buy this one right here. This is the, what size is this one? 5/8. This is the one that's going to be needed, which unfortunately does not come in this kit. So I went and bought one extra. See, as of down here, I need that 5/8. So I got my drill. I gotta go get some drill bit. Now hopefully at this point you remember you put up your metal guide for this. Is hopefully it should be centered, and you're gonna drill a hole right through that center hole, and then you're gonna drill up on the top. Looks like this one, once I tightened it, got a little bit shifted, so we'll try to reshift it just a hair over to the right, and that should be pretty darn close. Worst case is my hole up top is not perfectly centered, and I have to, you know, Dremel out one side 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch or something like that. But right now, if you did not put that in at the beginning, you'd be kind of winging it on where the exact middle is if you're drilling from the top. Okay, so, and then also I'm going to take my 5/8 hole saw and I'm going to put a hole on this truck. It looks like the outside one closest to the middle on both sides. All right, that's where it looks like the GMT 100, because you see how one's raised and one's bottom. You want it in the bottom one, so once your ring is up top, it's kind of sort of flush with the bed. If you did it on the top one, you could do it and it technically wouldn't be wrong, but it wouldn't be as flush as it would if you went in with the bottom rib of the bed. So we're going to do the outside, and these I'm not going to drill a pilot hole. I'm actually going to try to drill the hole from the bottom, since I've kind of got like an outer guide of the actual hole itself. So 2 up there, and I might have to do a quick measurement or so for that one. That might be hard to get my drill by, but that one should be no problem. Neither should these two. And honestly, I really hope I have a drill. I might have to go get a different drill bit. I didn't think about that. Make sure you got a long enough drill bit to get up in there. You might need an extension of some kind. All right, let's check our progress. We got 2 holes. The center one, I hope that's straight. I might have to do, like I said, it's really easy. If you've got that, if you've got the guide in there, super easy. That orange thing is actually like a rubbery plastic and it kind of holds your bit in place, so there's no chance of it sliding around. And then we got the two over there. This guy, I shot it at an angle like this, and I got it to where it's roughly right in the middle, and I'll just go straight down with the hole saw. But there's a chance this one might need to be grinded just a hair on the edge, but the other three should be perfect. And I'm hoping that one does just fine as well. All right, here's my pilot holes. Everything looks to be pretty good, pretty square. The only one that doesn't, this one is just a hair, maybe to the right. I need to go, but I guess time to start using the old hole dozers and seeing what we can do. Good. Good. All right, getting really close. I got one side clear. Just a little bit to go. Looks like we can pull this out. See how close we were. We'll have to grind up that little corner. Oh, good. Pretty clean. All right. So we took it down a little bit too far into that one side, but I'll take a little grind here and clean up this side, this side. It would have been nice to have a clean cut all the way around, but I've already got the actual slide-in pins already installed. But yeah, I'll clean this up. I'll throw a little bit of paint right here so that don't rust, and get me a grinding disc and just grind that off real quick, and then this will be ready for the final install of this, the center gooseneck portion. Okay, so we're pretty much almost done here. What we got still to do is to put on a couple trim pieces before we can actually drop the ball down. This is a rubber ring that kind of just sticks around the edge of the bed. One, to protect it from rust, and two, to kind of just protect everything from getting cut. Although this might have not been designed. I have a feeling this wasn't designed to be thick enough to be used with the bed liner. So let me put my phone down and get my other hand to see if I can make this work. All right, so after further ado, this is just a little too thick to have this work. So in theory, you'd have this just on the, and you get it around here and cut it to fit, and it would give you a nice little bit of protection. What I did instead is I sprayed some paint around the edge, and we're just going to go ahead and bolt our ring down, and I'll just always make sure to always use my cap, and that'll give me a pretty decent seal. So let's get a couple of these screws in there. There's one. There's two. Judson, where's my other screw? Oh, there it is. All right, that chrome rim, one, adds some security, two, kind of levels it out. One less thing, it'll never get caught on the edge now, or at least be much less likely to with that on there. And I guess at this point we're on to the ball itself. So a lot of people say these things get rusted in there, and I'm in Georgia. There's, especially with a new piece, fully you know, permanently in the southern states, I probably don't need too much. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of this Extreme Mollygrass multi-purpose grease, comes like this, and I'm gonna stick a dab, just a real light coat all the way around, but I'm gonna stick a dab in each hole as well. So and this way it's going to and this is going to be very thin because I don't know. That is mostly just for rust prevention. The dabs in the middle there are going to be just keep that pin that goes in, slide back through it nice. Since it's going to sit in here, I don't even have a gooseneck trailer at the moment, so it's going to be a little while till this moves. So this is just for preventative measures, really. But that is how it would go, you know, nice and flush. It does not move, even with the pins not even moving through it yet because of the little key right there. But since this is a storage piece, all right, honestly, this does not give you a ton of strength pulling, and that's another reason why I decided to use the grease. Apparently it sits like that, and then throw your piece over it. And that's how it's going to sit. So well, definitely something can slide over this. Definitely a chance that this rubber piece will get chewed up, but it's rubber. If Curt sells these, I assume it's not going to be too expensive. Now I'm going to put a little bit of grease on these before I drop them down, just because these do have to go up and down. And as you can hear, they do hit metal, truck bed frame. But so I'm going to throw some grease on these as well, since really you only touch the top, so the sides are going to get some grease. And then drop that down both sides and go get my other stuff all buttoned up.